On Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, Jenkins LTS 2.452.1 was released. In today's show, we're going to be looking at all the changes in that release. My name is Darin Pope. I'm a developer advocate with CloudBees. And on the show with me today, I have Mark Waite. Mark, how are you doing today?
Just great, Darin. Thanks for asking.
Good to see you. Are you
Good
out of
to
winter
be.
yet, or do you still have winter?
Oh yeah. In fact, I'm conspiring to prepare for my birthday bicycle ride. So it's bike riding weather now.
Bike riding winter. Just in case people don't know, Mark lives in Colorado. And I saw that it was actually warmer there than it is here a couple of days
No,
ago.
that's a relatively rare occurrence. So
Rare
don't
occurrence.
expect that to last.
No.
But we'll take it for a few
And,
days. It's nice.
and you should have snow again next week, so it doesn't really matter. It'll be back.
Hey,
Okay, that's not why we're here to talk today. We're here to talk about the latest release of Jenkins LTS. And big, not big, what do you think?
I take it as not big. I like this kind of an LTS release because we did an awful lot to keep it stable, and the stability numbers looked really good in all sorts of ways up to the baseline. And now there have been some interesting changes after the baseline that we'll see in 3 months. So this one's been a relatively small one.
Well, good. So in case people don't understand, we're talking about base and LTS. In case people don't understand what that is, can you take a minute to explain the differences between how LTS works and maybe some other parts of Jenkins?
Sure. So Jenkins releases a new version every week. Every week, like clockwork, we deliver another version. Every 12 weeks, we select a baseline weekly, and we use that baseline for a long-term support release. We select the baseline, we let it wait for a few weeks, backport any fixes that we realize are needed, and then we release it as that baseline .1, so 2.452.1. That baseline then continues, and 4 weeks later we'll release another change of that to be 452.2. 4 weeks after that, another .3. And that then starts again, and we'll choose a new baseline, release, and then every 4 weeks afterwards, release another.
And on it goes.
That's right. And we typically take, oddly enough, with that 12 cycle, we take 2 weeks off at least at the end of every year, so that 48 weeks gets closer to 52 weeks.
Right. So I guess now's the time to go ahead and start taking a look at the notes, right? Now's a good time
Yeah,
to do
let's
that.
do
So
it.
let me go ahead and pull that up. What we have here, the Jenkins site, in case you've never figured out where the changelog is, download under stable LTS. So Mark was talking about weeklies, right? So there's a different changelog for weeklies than there is for LTS. We're focusing on the LTS today, or stable. Look at the changelog. Now, before we scroll down, here's the thing I always forget, so I want to go ahead and say it this time first. There is a legend here at the top with what the colors mean. Keep the colors in mind as we're going through this.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty good. 29 bright, shiny, happy. I'm one of those.
Right?
1 cloudy, okay, and 0 uh-ohs. That's what I call them. I call them uh-ohs. Which way do you want to look at this first? We've had some things backported since the cut for 452 was decided. So that means in 53, 54, 55, these came from somewhere in that area.
Right.
Do you want to talk about that first, or do you want to just go ahead and go through the standard?
Let's take the changes since first because they're pretty simple. Then we'll focus on what I think is more interesting is the notable changes.
Okay. So what do you think? This one, I was actually just talking to somebody. This is like, remember I said the legend? This is big and red. So
Right.
this was important to come back. What was this about?
Yeah, so what would happen is a user would receive flawed instructions for their connection to create a connection to an agent. So to create an inbound agent, we would give them a prototype. We would say, use this command, and we gave a bad prototype. So that prototype would include an argument that, in fact, was invalid and had no value associated with it. So take that out and be grateful that we give you a correct value. Now,
Okay.
it was fairly easy to avoid. You would type the command, it would tell you something's wrong, and you would guess and fix, but now instead Jenkins tells you the correct thing from the start.
Isn't that useful? Just
It is.
telling me what I need to use from the beginning. Okay. If the variant plugin is installed at the same time as a plugin has an optional extension, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so this one has some odd timing problems that could surprise people. And the challenge is it would be difficult for most people to realize, oh, I had a timing problem. This thing was not activated. And then when I did I waited a little bit longer, and all of a sudden it was better. And that's just perplexing to users. Waiting a little bit and something gets better is not an expected thing.
Yes. Consistency is key.
Right.
We want it to be consistently good, but even if it's consistently bad, I'm still okay with that.
Consistency matters. It really does. Just like compatibility matters. Yep.
Compatibility. Okay. I have to bring this in. Upgraded to 440.3. Thank you. 4 days ago. But now, just wait. You can wait a day or two, right? No rush.
No, I think upgrading is a good thing, but all
It
right,
is.
if you want to wait, you can wait. There's no harm in waiting, but I upgraded the day of release, and I've been very, very happy with it. I think you'll be happy too. I expect it will be an easy upgrade.
Okay. Upgrade to the Spring Framework BOM because why?
Because it's healthy to keep our dependencies up to date. There isn't a major dramatic thing there. If I remember right, if you were to click through that release notes, there's no grand surprises hiding in that, but it had a few bug fixes, and it's just easier for us and for our users if their dependencies are up to date.
Those evil security scanners.
Yeah, don't get me started on security scanners. That's not a place we want to go.
Okay. We won't. All right. So the notable changes. This first one, removing the people view.
Right.
So let me just show it in case it's like, well, what are you talking about? Okay. This, going back to what we were just seeing, this is 440.3. And you can see people is right here on the left. But now, in a fresh, clean install of 452.1, there is no people there.
Correct.
But let me show you a trick. Because you think, oh, I'm smart. They just took it off. If you type people, it's been moved to a plugin.
Right.
So it doesn't break.
Nope.
Yay.
Nope.
But it is telling you if you need it. Now, why would I even need the people plugin?
Well,
What would be
okay,
a purpose?
So what the people plugin does is it tells you who are the users that have interacted in some way in this Jenkins system, but interacted is a very broad verb in this case because it means made any commit to a repository that Jenkins saw. There are all sorts of things that cause a name of someone to appear in the people view. And that all sorts of reasons were also a reason why a number of organizations complained and saying, hey, I don't want you allowing just anybody to see the list of everybody who committed to everything on this system.
So not so much a security problem, but a believable security problem?
Well, it's a disclosure risk, right? Some people say, I do not want you disclosing things that are outside of this realm. And the people plugin was disclosing more information than might be useful or might be safe or healthy in some environments. So it's fun to look at the issue number on that one, Darin, to show you just how long this has been a non-problem, right? We are now on issue 72,000.
Yeah.
That was issue 18,000, so less than 19,000. This was years ago that this was first reported, and so it's obviously been okay for people, but thanks to Daniel Beck explicitly, it's now gone and moved nice and cleanly to a separate plugin.
Yep. And then you can install the plugin if you need it.
Right.
If you don't need it, no big deal.
And I suspect for most people, they will not miss it. They will not realize, it's gone. That's okay. So I see this as a net win for everybody.
I agree. The next big major enhancement, remember purple is enhancement, or lavender, I don't know which it is. Add specific temporary files to the Debian package for better support of Unix domain sockets. Now, support for UDS came in last September? August, September, October, somewhere in that.
It's been a while, actually. Right, exactly.
But what was missing from Debian was, if you haven't done, I did a couple of videos about UDS. I did one or two. You have to have certain files in certain places in order for things to work. And the Debian packaging didn't have that.
Right.
and I can't remember the gentleman that worked on it, but
Oh, and I
he
apologize.
did a lot of work.
I don't remember either, but deeply grateful for it. This particular change, for me, the crucial thing is actually in the second sentence, not because that's some surprise, but there will be people who will, oh. So in order to do this, we used a facility that is only available in the Debian 10 packaging system and newer. Now, we don't support any Debian version older than Debian 10. So this is not breaking anything, but there might conceivably be users who were running on an unsupported configuration using Debian 9 or older, and this thing will actually not work then. They have to use Debian 10. And truthfully, it's time to upgrade to Debian 12 actually, because 10 is almost end of life. 11 is well into its maturity, and 12 has been available, I think, for a year or more.
Upgrade your operating systems, people.
Right, exactly. Please upgrade your operating systems.
Okay. And the final big major enhancement was allow recursive remote file copy even if the local and remote nodes have incompatible character sets.
Yeah, okay. And this,
Now here's the scary one, right? Because it says such as 8559 and 1047. I mean, why would you have that much of a clash?
well, and this one came from somebody who's using an IBM mainframe. And that's one of those hints where you get, oh yeah, there are times when I'm dealing with something like an IBM mainframe, a system that is using a completely different character set like EBCDIC, that I may still say, I accept that collision. I want the file copied anyway.
Okay. So lots of little enhancements. Let's talk about this first one. We won't go through every one of these in detail, but I'm going to go through this first one because it actually leads us to something else. So modernize progress bar UI in various locations. So where's one of those various locations? Well, if we run this test here, so I've got a test job, and it's got a sleep statement in it. So it's going to sleep for 10 seconds. This is the old version. This is 440.3.
Right.
So
watch that
watch
build history.
This progress bar is what we're talking about, correct?
And the build history progress bar.
Oh, the
any
build history-
progress bar that's rendered.
Okay.
So the one you're showing is a nice big one, so a good choice.
Right. Okay. Now let's go to what's new in 452. So we go to test. Let's watch what happens here. Once it starts. So it's a little rounded, a little more cool looking, I guess.
Right?
Now notice I didn't have my stage view here either.
Oh, right.
Because, why?
Because Pipeline Stage View is not installed by default.
Right? Anymore. And this is the reason why.
Right, and I think now if you take us, let's see, we are in there, right?
Right. So I could click on stages. This is one way to see this.
Oh, right, and there we go.
Right.
Notice,
Or I can go into a build and I'll
And
see this
now-
new thing here.
right, Pipeline Overview and Pipeline Console, which are the pipeline graph view. So what's changed, what Darin did is he installed this with the setup wizard. And the setup wizard in Jenkins 2.452.1 now by default installs the pipeline graph view. So
Instead of the stage view.
instead of stage view, right? But what this does for me, I'd long ago abandoned Blue Ocean, and now I get a natural thing that is as a solid, capable visualize your pipeline through pipeline graph view.
Right. So lots of different ways you can get there. Again, stages is going to show you the however many. Does it show all builds? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't
thought
remember
it showed
either.
all builds in the history and however you've configured the number of builds in your history.
Yep. So if you do it now, if you're just upgrading, like what Madhu, forgive me for shortening your name, if you just do your upgrade from 443 to 452,
You don't get it.
you're not going to see it because you didn't
Right.
do a fresh install. Like if
Right.
you just do your DNF update or your apt update, you're not going to see it.
The important action that you performed was you ran the install wizard.
Correct.
And that's only done on the first time installation.
Correct. So if you do a fresh installation, and let's say you've been running an older version, and now you go do a fresh installation because you're going to migrate over, and then you're going to say, wait, where's stage view? I don't get it.
Right.
This is what happened in this
Yeah,
version.
and Stage View is still available. You can choose
Yeah.
to install it. It's just, I happen to like the graphical rendering, particularly for some of my pipelines where Stage View sort of misleads me.
Sometimes a little too flat.
Right, exactly. It's all nice and linear, but many of my pipelines aren't linear.
Right. Okay. So that was the big thing, is modernizing how that progress bar. So if I had Stage View, you would have seen a nice, cooler looking thing, but I didn't. Let's see here. Components, that's just new change,
Yeah,
design.
Nice
big
improvements,
deal.
and they are nice improvements. They really are.
Yeah. And, copy to clipboard. Build console output. Let's go over and take a look at that, because if we do this, come on, I hit the wrong thing. By the way, if you always click on the icon, not the number, that takes you right to the log. Just remember that. I know that every day. So where does the copy button come from, Mark? Do you remember?
So are you using an SSL connection, Darin?
Of course not.
Well, so it doesn't help you then, because copy can't work unless
Right.
you're over SSL.
Right. Which I don't.
And it's the nature. That's a web browser thing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
We can offer it, and they'll just reject it because they look at it and say, "I'm sorry, I'm not allowing you to copy things from over an insecure connection."
Okay. Then if I would have put it behind my proxy like I should have, then it would have been fine. But I didn't. I'm being lazy right now.
That's okay.
Read-only mode for drop-down when using extended read. Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
nice fix.
Remove extra margins when viewing in read-only mode.
And again, that's just a nice legibility, usability fix.
Icon. Add a computer icon legend, new icon for agents that are not accepting task. I
Yeah,
haven't
so-
seen that one yet.
Well, and this is a nice one from Marcus Winter. What he did was he's been dealing with how do my agents behave and why, and showing I think you'd have to have an extra agent.
I have to have an
here.
agent, yeah, which I don't have.
But what he does is offer a legend, just like today on this screen, we've got the legend. If you do the 3 dots on the far right, we've got legend, icon legend there, right? This same kind of thing is now available for agent status to tell you, oh, hey, here's how agents behave, which icon means what when dealing with agent status. So again, it's a nice usability thing. Most people won't look at it; they'll just infer, oh, that icon is spinning. It means something's happening. It's not spinning, and it's got a big X. It means nothing's happening, and it's stopped.
Right. Now, since we just clicked on the 3 dots, notice one thing here. So the flyout also for Atom feed. If we go back to our old version, we take a look at this. All that used to be flat on the bottom. Right. So we're deflattening. Is that a word? It is today.
Well, moving distracting things moving less used things out of the primary view. And one of the things that's likely coming is reducing the amount of vertical space we're using before we get to the important things. So Jan Faracek has done several pull requests to try to further clean up things so that you don't have to have a monster vertical distance monitor.
I still run 1080p monitors, 1920 by 1080. That's all I run.
Yeah, and me too. But there are
some of these
plenty
people have these 4K monitors. I don't understand why.
Well, or in my case, sometimes I run on my little Chromebook that's barely big enough to do anything, and it's a great help to when I'm working on a postage stamp. It's really nice to have somebody who thought about making things fit better.
Yep. Okay. Remove some things. Localize the appearance.
Oh no! Don't give up the unused material icons. I know nobody
Really?
cares but Mark, but this one mattered to me.
Why?
So we a year or year and a half ago, quite a while ago, we stopped using this particular icon set, and stopping using it was a good thing because we've got much nicer looking symbols now. But if we forget and don't remove that overhead, we just carry it forever. Alex Brandes did the work to actually remove it. And thanks very much to him. It's nice to have done that tidy up. No users should detect any difference.
Good. I'm glad you're happy, Mark. That's all that matters. Localize appearance link, agent provision, just some auth things, non-pipeline builds, interrupted. So not pipeline. So freestyle, anything but pipeline. Interrupted by a controller restart will now be marked as aborted rather than failed. I like that.
Yeah, I like that as well. That's actually, hey, nice choice. Freestyle, it really was aborted. Yes, the job in fact did fail, but the real thing was it was aborted.
Right. Create an index page for heap dump creation. How did I miss this earlier?
Yeah.
Really? Where is
Yeah,
it?
it's well. So if you read the pull request, it'll show you.
Why would I
before
want
and
to do
after.
that, Mark? Come on.
Click. That's what that link is there for.
Okay.
And this is one of those. Hey,
Interesting.
heap dumps are not really interesting until they are. And when they're interesting, they are very, very interesting.
Okay. So can I actually navigate there?
I don't remember. We'd have to read the pull request.
Okay. Well, just I'm assuming. So why would I read? Let's see. There's nothing here. So let's look at the pull request again.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's. I think you put a slash.
slash heap dump. Yeah.
Right there, you
So
go.
so it's not, which is actually good because
Right. We don't really want users requesting heap dump. Thank you very much, unless they really need it.
Yeah. So let's see. There it is.
Yep.
Nice. So now you can say download because doing this from the command line can be painful. I'll leave
Got
that
it.
there. I'll leave that there.
Yep.
Just make sure you have enough disk
Right.
and hopefully you're got enough memory.
Yeah. This is a lot of stuff, right? And there are times when it's very, very helpful.
Yep. Heap dumps. Wonderful thing. Okay. Let's see here. Updating end of life for
Yeah. Okay.
Fedora-based type
This
and
is a
Alpine.
mark weight fixation thing, right? Where we really do want to tell users, and we try very hard to tell users that their operating system is reaching end of life, and it's important. We regularly get questions in the Jenkins community forums from people who are asking about operating systems that are past their end of life. And while it may not ultimately matter that they're running Jenkins on an end-of-life operating system, it should matter to them that they're running an end-of-life operating system at all.
Is this a variation on the theme? Do not attempt to self-restart on operating systems.
Actually, this one's a little more sophisticated. So
Okay.
we had some code in Jenkins that would allow you to do a restart, and it would actually restart, not just kill the process and not come back. But there are operating systems where that code doesn't work. One of them was Tandem Nonstop. So the Nonstop series of high availability operating systems. And this code has now been fixed to say, look, if the operating system doesn't support it, don't offer it.
Talk about an edge case.
Exactly, and it came from the Tandem user. So that was HP Nonstop. It's not Tandem anymore. I mislabeled it.
I knew what you're talking about. It's like, wait, tandem? Yeah, okay.
Right. You have just as much dark history as I do. That's scary.
Dark history, gray hair, it all comes together. Correct owner for Jenkins Clouds after Jenkins load. That feels like a pretty important thing. Because
I remember this fix, but I didn't see no comment.
Yeah, we'll leave that there. Supporting no certificate check with WebSocket. Useful. Not that you should use it, but it's useful.
Thank you. I appreciate that last phrase. Not that you should use it, because thankfully SSL certificates are easy to obtain. Please use them.
Error messages, stack trace, performance. This one was interesting to me. Adjust heap dump file name for compatibility with OpenJDK file suffix requirements. Okay. Number one, why are we still using OpenJDK? Nothing against it, but there's other options, right?
No. So in this case,
Oh, you're talking about it flows down from upstream. Got it.
Right. If you open that issue report, what you'll see is things about, hey, we've been broken for a long time, and didn't detect how broken we were for a long time, and so notice the title. Scroll way back up to the top of the title. Jenkins cannot generate heap dumps on OpenJDK since 2017.
Ooh.
So,
whoops.
So hey, this is a very nice fix for those people who need heap dumps. This is a good thing to have.
And this actually helped with that heap dump thing that we just saw a moment ago, right?
Exactly, right. So again, thanks to Daniel Beck, he did a great thing here, realized, wow, they've got this strange behavior, and here, let's get the fix, and let's give a better user experience for it as well.
Okay. Fix the build button rendering for dashboard view.
Right.
And then finally, change focus and new item only if from has a valid job name.
Oh, and I like that one.
Let's do that because I get frustrated with this.
Okay.
So I want to read it one more time. Change focus if in the new item page only if the from has a valid job name.
So let's see, are you on the new version or the old version?
I am on the new version.
Okay, so hit tab.
And nothing, right?
Notice that it, okay.
Let's go back over here. Let's see how
new
it was
item.
happening. So if I do this and I tab out,
Okay, now keep going. So scroll down.
right? So it's just cycling through everything.
Scroll down. Okay, start typing in the copy from field.
Okay, test.
Oops, it just changed focus on you, Darin.
Right. So
And,
here,
and you got lucky that you typed, in fact, you typed really fast. Good for you for typing so fast.
Here, let me not
Those
do
of us
that.
who don't type so fast end up putting characters in the wrong field.
okay. So if I'm down here and I type,
Blah, blah, blah. It jumps the focus on
and then
you.
okay, yeah. Whereas now,
Right. So now you tab down, start typing, and it did not shift the focus. Now,
until it
this
was
is-
done.
Right. This is a long-standing. That problem has been there, I think, for 5 or 6 years.
Let's see.
And
It's older, but not
oh
super
no, it's
old.
only is that a 55 or a 66?
66.
Oh, so it's not that old. My mistake.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah. Okay. 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. Anything else that okay, we need to take a look at the upgrade guide.
We do.
We've already
Right.
talked about it, but there's only one item in the upgrade guide, and that is the people view being removed.
Right.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, okay, now there was one other that we considered adding to the upgrade guide and didn't do it.
What is that?
We skipped over it, but
Okay.
in the container that we do for Windows, it's about
Right.
2/3 of the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, use JLink, right?
Yep.
So truthfully, most people do not run their Jenkins controller with a Windows-based container. That's truly exceptional, and I'm not sure I'd personally recommend it. But for those who do, we changed how we install the JDK. Previously, we installed the entire thing of several hundred megabytes. Now we use the same technique on Windows as we've been using for a very long time on Linux. We run the JLink program that creates a smaller JDK so that we use less disk space.
Okay. Is that it?
That's
Anything else
it.
we need to look at?
That's all that I've got.
Okay. So there's something coming up soon. Jenkins is almost legal. 1 year away from being legal. 20 years.
Right?
Not as Jenkins. There was a name change.
Right.
But besides that, it's a different conversation. We're not going to get into the whole thing. But 20 years.
Yep. That's right.
How long, Mark, have you been around for that?
Well,
When did you get started?
So I just gave a talk yesterday about this. I transitioned a team to extreme programming in March of 2003. And we made our own CI server because Jenkins didn't exist. And we paid the full price of maintaining our own CI server for a period. By 2007, I'd switched and we were using Jenkins. So thanks to the Jenkins project for being there, and for Kosuke Kawaguchi for the great thing he created for all the people who've been on it since then.
But that's the trick. It wasn't Jenkins back then.
It wasn't, and we can say
different
the
conversation.
name. We can say the name even, but trust me, it's Jenkins.
It's Jenkins. Which is a whole nother conversation. Again, I was saying, notice how I said name and not a fork. Big
Because
conversation.
It's not, and I am happy to have that fight with anybody. I am ready to discuss that with anybody. I have data to support my arguments on that one.
I have data as well, and I'm having to break my old habits of understanding the other opposite. So anyway, we'll be back in 4 weeks. The .2 will be out. Again, we hope for boring. We expect boring. And that date is, what is the date? Because June 13th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back here. That's on a Thursday.
Great.
Assuming everything has gone normally. Is there anything else? So you did a talk there. If anyone, since this is going to be after, if anyone is in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, I'm going to be speaking at the Southeast Linux Festival on Friday the 6th, I think, is when I'm doing a Jenkins talk.
Okay.
And we're going to be talking about how to manage Jenkins in 2024. I can't remember the exact title, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. If you've watched any of the videos, it's going to be a lot of it coming from there. This is the great thing about working with an almost 20-year-old project. Things are in a rhythm, and things just happen in a cadence. And when there are big things, like our new progress bars today. Sorry, I had to poke a little bit. Actually, they are a lot nicer. If you think back to what the UI was like 8 years ago, 9 years, when the 2.0 line or the 2x line started.
Right.
I'm trying to block out the 1x line completely.
Right.
It's light years from where it was.
Yeah.
So.
And it keeps improving, and more improvements are coming.
Yep. So anyway, if you're in the Charlotte area, check out, I can't remember, just look up Southeast Linux Festival Charlotte. You'll find it there. They just opened up. And your talk yesterday was where? You were at the
Denver.
Denver
High
Agile
2024. Yeah, Mile High
Cool.
Agile 2024.
Cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's going on with us. We're back in 4 weeks. If you're not in the Jenkins community.jenkins.io, highly recommend you sign up. If you have questions about things, go over there, because that's where I see people over on Reddit some too. Go to community.jenkins.io first. And then if you need to go somewhere else, okay, that's great. But more than likely, you'll get an answer there. If you have a question, fully state the question. Please don't say it's not working.
Right. It's broken is not enough.
It's not enough. Details are helpful. So,
Yep.
Thanks to everybody for joining us live here today. If you're watching the replay, do the YouTube things. Give us a thumbs up, likes, whatever it is. Subscribe, by the way. We're on CloudBees TV. We both work for CloudBees. That is our day job. But we're also part of the team working on Jenkins. So thanks for watching, and we will talk to everybody again in about 4 weeks. And in between there, have a great rest of your week. It's almost Saturday. Think about it. It's almost Saturday. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later.